Back here live at the Waterfront Village with my friend, the zombie, Jonathan. You're looking good. Jonathan just got an awesome face paint job. What do you think?
I make turtles.
It's now time for Big D Energy with four-time Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty and the golden voice of Neil Rule. Live on the Woodward Sports Network, 99.1 and 93.5 The Roar, the Woodward Sports app, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Let's talk some sports. It's Big D Energy.
What up, though? Welcome back to the Big D Energy. I am
Big D.
Big D. I'm your boy Easy filling in for the golden voice of Neil Rule, who will be joining the show, by the way. Joined by his tag team partner, the four-time Stanley Cup champion, Darren McCarty. What up, though?
How you doing?
Man.
By the way, everybody out there, this goes out to my girl Maddie and Rake, and not our girl Maddie. This is out there for Oak Island. Yes, Portuguese. Looks like everything came from Portugal. We're gonna find out. And just so you know, the trucks. Saw some video. They're putting the new trucks in as we speak right now for the next season. So one more year to all my Oak Islanders. That's all I got. Anybody else happen to watch it last night?
No, D-Mac.
All right. Thanks for dialing in. Anyways, like you said, there's a lot of exciting stuff going on last night.
Yeah, Red Wings beat Tampa.
Yeah, okay.
How about that? Without Larkin?
No, I mean, like what you saw, I think is what you saw is what I talked about yesterday about when you're looking for the goals and the guy who's going to produce and be one of your top guys is Jacob Verana, and a guy who's put up 20 goals in 32 games in a Red Wing jersey, and a guy who's going to be part of your offensive output and something that you can look forward to. I think you should take pride in that win. Tampa had their number one goalie, first loss Andre Vasilevsky's ever had against the Detroit Red Wings.
Hey.
So, yeah, you take that as a small victory late in the season, but it doesn't change the big picture, in my opinion. So the guys are playing hard. Larkin was out. Nedeljkovic was hurt. So guys are still playing for jobs next year, and it was a big win, and they covered the over. So the over was 6.5, so that's a good thing. But even more importantly, fired up. DCFC, congratulations.
Oh, yeah.
Big 2-1 win yesterday. Our boy Neil, obviously down in Florida, was on the call doing more MLS games today, so hence why the pontoon's out and you're filling in. But we're going to get him on to talk about that atmosphere down at Kenworth last night to people that were there. Fox 2's own Kelly Rowe, who's a friend of mine, was there live and sent me a great picture in the crowd and stuff like this, and I was really trying to make it down there. I apologize that I couldn't, but I was watching on TV, and when Maxi Rodriguez scored that penalty kick goal, it was awesome. So it'll be great to talk to Neil about that, too.
Yeah. Packed house. Our boy Jack Fox was there, too.
Yeah,
down there.
I love it. There's a guy that I'd love to see. He could probably kick that ball around.
Probably kick that, yeah. Probably
no
pretty solid
doubt,
kick.
But again, those are the champions in the city. It's great to see what it's done. But also, we got a big show. We're not going to deny the draft's coming up and stuff like this. So
yeah, we got Russell Brown coming on.
Russell Brown. What's Russ gonna break down?
Hopefully, Russell Brown breakdown.
The Russell Brown breakdown, because I saw on the tweeter machine this morning that I don't know. I wasn't thinking about stunning anybody, but on this 420, it is DMAC Day.
It is.
Hey, you know what? You know how much my wife loves me?
Well, how much?
But she made sure she called me last night before midnight to wish me a happy birthday.
There you go. She loves you this many.
420s is more important. And shout out to all the history buffs. You know what also 420 is?
What?
Just because one of these things that you just know when you know.
What is
Adolf Hitler's birthday.
Oh, Jesus, D-Man. Come on, dude. Come on.
Hey, listen.
What the hell, man?
One of those historical facts. So
if D-Mac, if you had a time machine, you had an opportunity to kill baby Hitler, would you?
Yeah. I mean, everybody would.
Good answer. I mean, I think that's the right answer.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to think, with no, whatever else. I mean, that's easy, right? I mean,
it's easy,
somebody's
baby.
going to break it. It's easy, baby. He's going to break it down. You mentioned Tigers and stuff like that.
Tigers
They're
lost.
back in town. I think that, anybody who gets a chance to get down there.
Yeah, today's kind of nice,
lost
too.
last night to the Yankees and stuff like this, but a lot of things going on in the city.
You think America's going to smell,
Not anymore. This state's not going to smell any different. Like, it's almost like I sit back and laugh because 420 is almost like to everybody else like to drinkers is St. Patty's Day.
Yes.
Where all the professional alcoholics or the professional cannabis people, it's another day.
Yeah.
Right? But it's great to be able to put the spotlight on. And I think especially in this state, if we're going to talk about it, it's all about the option. I'm sitting here today, 6.5 years later, from the plant that saved my life. And you might be out there going, well, what do you mean by that, D-Mac? And you can follow my story, but it's through the love and support of the people of the state of Michigan that we understand that there is an option that we all need that's different. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm huge into the CBDs and the CBNs for the pain relief, for the arthritis, for the sleep, stuff like that. That's why I have the Darren McCarty brand. So I also love to indulge in the fun side of the plant, and today's a great day to do it. But no different day than anywhere else. I think in the preview, I shot a preview show out there.
Oh, yeah.
Maddie caught me
mid-inhale.
So
I think I caught Flannel Sam pregame in there, too. His booth was a little smoky.
Sam should. He's the most. Listen, he's the most. Can we talk? Hey, first of all, if anybody hasn't caught this, I want to bring this up before we get all serious about it. But Spencer,
yes.
Yesterday on Woodward Heavyweights, I saw.
Oh, dude.
You were really distraught over what. I couldn't stop laughing. Can you pull that up by any chance?
Yeah, I'll
just for the
it
fans at home. And I bring this about, right? Because for anybody who doesn't know, Easy and Spence are part of the Woodward Heavyweights. It's shenanigans. I mean, these kids, there's big plans ahead for these kids, not only with the, being a network show and they can bring the heat. As you see, Easy wouldn't be sitting here in Neil's seat if he couldn't do the job, and I think it's the growth. But to me, I literally laughed out loud. What were you guys, Easy? Will you set the table? What were you guys talking about?
This is the craziest part about it. I sent it on Slack if you hadn't already got it, Spence. But
I got it right now.
We were literally thanking our fans, for our listeners, I should say, for supporting us, because it's kind of crazy. We're just ourselves goofing around the room, and everyone hits everyone hits that like button and shares the stream. We're thank you, and then this is what Spence does at the end of it. I don't know if you got queued up or not. But
yeah, I got it right here.
Here we go.
Shout out to you guys for supporting us, for keeping with us, watching the videos, liking. Share them. Tell your friends. Tell your people.
Be a friend, tell a friend.
Be a friend, tell a friend. We're just excited.
Oh, yeah. We're so... All right.
That bitch was stank.
See, and you know what? As childish and whatever like that, I mean, that is so funny. I'd hear anybody who hasn't checked out the fun stuff you have. Obviously, draft party coming up, all the shenanigans and stuff you have, but just, you know what?
There was no special effects in that video.
There was no special effects.
Camera actually
that was right out of the gourd. So, anyways, a little behind the scenes. Check out Woodward Heavyweights.
For sure.
Detroit Dabber 313. Thank you for the happy 420. And again, first in. Don't call it a streak, but he's on one, folks. He's on one. So,
I saw there's a couple people too. There's actually people competing for that, because Mike G was immediately after. Then Mr. Poole, Jake Wagner. It's a thing, and Dabber's been holding it down.
Mike G just asked if I'm getting NIL money from Hershey. might need a little bit there.
Hey, we're all about it up here.
Can we do a poll, Spence?
A lot of sports to talk
about.
What?
Can you do a poll on the Hitler quest, the baby Hitler?
Dude,
I see they're talking about it in the chat, but don't use the word kill. Just put, would you take out baby Hitler if you had the chance? This is going on in the chat. This is a conversation in the chat. Right. I'm just curious.
I mean, that's like I don't know. Neil's not here. I'm not. Hey, I'm in the mood. It's a happy birthday. I'm just.
Happy birthday!
Listen, I'm fully medicated right now. You guys do what you want.
Yeah, me too. That's why I forgot
You're driving the pontoon. I know that you later on in the show also you want to talk about some Pistons, some possible free agency guys. Because here, let's be realistic about it. I know the NFL draft's coming up, and the end of the hockey season, the playoff season, whatever it is, Tigers are going and stuff like this. But hey. You know what? When you get interested in your basketball team, not just around the draft time, when you're building, it's also the free agency. When you look down into the war chest and see the draft capital, or see money that you have to spend and who's out there. We were mentioning yesterday as the NBA playoffs go on, Jordan Poole, the job that he's doing in Golden State, but he's a restricted free agent, so that might be somebody who's on your wish list that we'll talk about later on.
For sure. A couple guys, Jalen Brunson's there. The Pelicans beat the Suns last night, which is crazy.
Well, Devin Booker didn't play for like the entire second half, so it's a little skewed, but
I mean, what happened? What's the situation?
I don't know. It didn't say anything. He just didn't come out of the halftime. He wasn't on the bench. He didn't play.
Sam, do you know?
It was a hamstring.
Hamstring. Pulled a hammy.
Ooh. So we're a couple games into each series, correct?
Yeah, 2 games.
Is that what we are?
About 2 games in each
one.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go around the room here just about, expectations or vibe of the playoff. Are they going the way? Are the teams winning? Are things playing out the way you sort of seen them, Sam? Or is there an injury here and there? Is this Booker injury going to change sort of what you thought teams would do?
I mean, they've gone about how I've expected them. The one thing that's really impressed me is Golden State has just been so dominant. They look like they could be the favorite. I've been impressed with Minnesota getting a game at Memphis. I'm really hoping that Luka Doncic can come back for Dallas healthy, because without him, I don't even know if they can get past the first round. That's really what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm most keyed on myself. What about you, Spencer?
Yeah, I'm really happy with the way the Celtics and Nets series is going. I can't wait to see more of that.
Yeah.
Like Sam said, just watching the Warriors dominate, that's always impressive. But it's also the little guys, like the Timberwolves taking a game, like the Pelicans taking a game. Like, these are things that normally don't happen in the first round of the NBA playoffs. The first round of the NBA playoffs is normally always 4-0s. The 1 seed wins 4-0. You're getting swept. You know who's going to win. And with these little guys chipping away, it might come down to haunt the bigger guys later. They're going to be more tired. They're playing more games. They had this emotional stress, and it's exciting. I love that. NBA playoffs are my favorite time of the year. I'm really excited it's here, and yeah, it's going great so far.
Over NHL playoffs?
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right, I think you got enough out of your poll right now. You got 44, 68% of the people say yes. I would like to put up another poll, a different one. Who's gonna partake and celebrate 420 today? In any different ways, whether it's smoking the flower, having an edible, infused dinner. Who's gonna enjoy this 420 with me? Right? Good question, right, Fish? What about you? Easy on the basketball.
Dude, Ant Edwards was my biggest. Obviously the Warriors, seeing them being able to still do their thing, that was pretty awesome. Seeing Jordan Poole kind of come, like I said, he's like the Splash baby, because the Splash brothers, maybe they're like the Splash uncles now, bringing up another guy here. But
I like it.
Yeah, that was pretty cool to see. Also, I probably shouldn't be doing this, but I'm hyping myself up because he is an option for the Pistons. I don't know if he will be, but he is out there. He's a restricted free agent. Jalen Brunson, another restricted free agent. The Pistons probably could grab a running mate with Cade Cunningham, and just seeing those 3 guards, do their thing and shoot the ball. That's kind of like what we got a little bit. Cade obviously not as consistently as a shooter as Steph or Clay, but he could definitely facilitate the ball to where Sadiq and Jordan can do their thing. Jalen Brunson can ball. But Ant Edwards, I think, is going to be the next big thing. They got blown out last night, but he looks special.
Right, and this is what it's come up to, is Golden State, it's must-see TV again.
Yes.
Right? No, how it used to be when it was the Splash Brothers, and no matter what it was, what basketball, and I'm talking out of my basketball fandom, which isn't very high. I enjoy the game, but I enjoy it, on a recreational level. But I know, talent and stuff like this. But that's what it is right now, isn't it? Is it? So Golden State would be, holy cow. We're all looking at it going, this isn't the misnomer. And if they stay healthy, that this Golden State team could make a charge.
They're that again, and then for me too, the exciting part is the newer stars, the emergence of Ant Edwards.
I think what you said,
too.
Easy. I like what you said. It's like Splash uncles and the Splash son.
Yeah.
And it's the evolution and stuff like this, because we talked about it yesterday. The incorporation of Jordan Poole's total game throughout, which means that, he's filling in the Iguodala sort of role. And what was Iguodala really known for? His all-around, get them a basket when they need it, do the little things, when the Splash Brothers aren't going.
D-Mac, where would you get the energy for 7 games?
You know what? It's not where they do. I haven't seen it on here. I've been looking, but for sure the Golden State Warriors are drinking Cintron. They have to be, you know. And there's big news about Cintron here. It's now available in select Kroger stores. You can visit the store locator on CintronWorld.com to find out where to buy Cintron at your local Kroger. Currently have 2 for $4. Yes, the 2 for $4 special. The Cintron Cranberry, the best tasting sparkling energy drink. Cintron is also available in classic and classic sugar-free. Cintron is the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings, the Detroit Tigers, Detroit City FC, and the proud partner with the Detroit Pistons. Be sure to go buy Cintron at select Krogers to support a brand that cares so much about Detroit sports. Drink it, live it with Cintron. Neil Rule, talking DCFC when we come back. Big D Energy.
32 teams, 7 rounds, 224 young men who today are about to become players in the National Football League. A day where lives are changed, fates are decided, dynasties are born, and the clock is always ticking.
Draft day in Detroit. A time of hope, a time of wonder, and a time for Detroit Lions fans to act like it's the friggin' Super Bowl. Join Woodward Sports and hundreds of other diehard Lions fans for our NFL draft party and live stream from the Brass Rail Detroit. All your favorite and not so favorite Woodward Sports people will be there. Adam, Terry, Neil, D-Mac, Braylon, Ryan, the heavyweights, NFL scout Scott Bischoff, Maz, Stick, Jeff Maddie, Joey, and more. Come join us at the Brass Rail Thursday, April 28th from 7 p.m. until pick number 32. See you downtown for draft day with Woodward Sports. Brought to you by Cintron, Gypsy Vodka, and Planet Fitness.
I'm Kay Cunningham. I'm proud to partner with Hall Financial, the mortgage company known for 5-star service. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their 5,000 5-star reviews for yourself. Go to callhallfirst.com and get started with your 5-star experience today.
Can Maxi Rodriguez deliver? Of course! Detroit City FC takes a 2-1 lead yet again from the spot. It's Maxi Rodriguez.
Incredible moment. Look at that celebration with the Northern Guard. They are pumped up. They are minutes away from going through to the next round of the U.S. Open Cup.
What up, Neil?
Are you gonna do
What's
an
going
intro,
on, guys? How are you?
You're just gonna mail it in.
I'm just gonna clap, mail it in. Which you know,
right.
I'll hop out. It's 420. Right. We're joined by the DCFC commentator and announcer Neil Rule, coming off their MLS. Is that their first MLS win? Right? I don't know how any of that stuff works.
First win over an MLS team. Yeah, that's right.
Because now it seems like a big thing. Everyone on social media is tweeting about it. Literally everybody was at the game last night. Jack Fox, Kelly Rowe. Tons of other people. As soon as you open up Instagram, all my people that I follow were at the DCFC game last night. How big is this for the team and for the franchise?
I think it's big. I mean, not only in the soccer world. I mean, you had ESPN FC tweeting about it and everything like that. I mean, hundreds of thousands of social media views that went across everywhere and every major soccer platform, all of it. I mean, it literally did take over the soccer world last night. But let me tell you where it's really big. And I think it's really big in the city of Detroit because the fans here in Detroit, I'm talking about the mainstream sports fans. In Detroit City, look, they pack Keyworth all the time. They show out. You guys know. You guys have been there before. You've seen it. I think what this does for them is this puts them on a new level with the local fans here in the city of Detroit because the knock on Detroit City has always been from the common sports fan. Well, what level are they at? Is it a top level thing? And that's really, I thought, what's held people, the common sports fan in Detroit. There's no other questions for Detroit City FC to answer. There's nothing left. I mean, that was a Columbus Crew that came in here. They won the MLS Cup in 2020, and Detroit City beat them, and they were behind too. It's not like, it's not like they got a lucky break or anything like that. They had to battle, man. They had to fight, and they were down 1-0 in the match, and they dominated in the second half of that match. They did. They took it to them, and that was Jesse Zardes out there. 65 matches played for the U.S. national team for the Columbus Crew. That was an MLS side, and Detroit City FC dominated them in the second half of that match. And there's no other questions for Detroit City to answer. I mean, what do you want? D-Mac, you've been there. You know it. It's all organically grown. The taxpayers weren't held hostage for a stadium. None of those things took place. It's passion, all good guys in the front office, on the team, everything like that. That's what you say you want, right? As a sports fan, that's what you say you want. So, I got nothing else for you guys, man. If you're not going out there to see matches, then I can't help you anymore.
Well, I got something for you, Neil, because, our soccer football aficionado at the station came to me this morning, and you know who I'm talking about, Mr. Fish Kiwi, right? So I'm going to let him address you with the question that he came up when I said, hey, Fish, what a great win by DCFC. And he said to me, yeah, it was a good win. So here, presenting you on behalf of Big D Energy to your host that you won't see, is the Kiwi Fish. Here's Fish. He's got a question for you, Neil.
All right, Neil Roll, you ready?
Let's go, Fish.
So, yes, they had Zardes out there, and it was a good win for Detroit City FC. But, however, Columbus Crew did not put their full squad out there. Can we say that? Is that correct?
Yeah, you could say that, but whose fault is that?
Columbus.
And I knew this. And
no,
Fish,
it's Columbus's.
I tweeted out Caleb Porter's media availability yesterday, and I said right away, instantly, they think that they could send out some of the reserves and that they're going to win this match. And they were dead wrong. Caleb Porter was dead wrong about that because they got dominated. Now, however, did Derek Etienne check into the match? We can go soccer elite right here. We can go soccer geekdom right here. Did Derek Etienne check into the match in the second half coming down the stretch? Yes, he did.
He did, yeah.
Did they run in some of the first teamers at the end? Yes, they did.
Yep, they did because they finally cared.
It was too late.
So I
I'm
think
just going
Neil,
off facts, man.
Hey Neil, I think to Fish's question, the facts is because what he said is that he was protecting the idiots out there, and saying that what is the Detroit team. Are you worried, or are they worried about going up in another round? This is what Fish says, and getting drubbed 4 or 5-0, and then coming back and saying, "Oh, well, see, the Columbus Crew didn't play their number one team." Does that happen in soccer, or is it more of what you were talking about, what they unleashed to the rest of MLS and the world, is that these guys are for real?
No, I mean, again, the Keyworth aspect of it all. And look, is it more advantageous to play at home? Certainly, it is. But when you look at it, look, Columbus Crew, they're in the middle of the season just like Detroit City FC's in the middle of the season. They have 3 matches in 7 days just like Detroit City FC does. And they made a decision. Caleb Porter, their coaching staff, they made a decision to put the roster out there that they put out there, and they paid the price for it. There are no more questions to answer. There's not. And people can fit a narrative as much as they want to fit a narrative. Again, D-Mac and Easy, it goes back to what I said. This is everything that you say you want as a sports fan. If you're a Detroit sports fan, you want organic growth, you want fan support, you want good guys to root for, you want non-publicly funded stadiums. They rehabbed Hamtramck's high school football field there. They rehabbed it. They did a crowdsourcing for the funding of it. They rehabbed it. When they leave, guess what they're going to do with that stadium? Give it back to Hamtramck schools. Like, what more do you want? That's what you say you want, right? As a sports fan?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They do everything the right way. Can I ask real quick, because I'm not as familiar with the gentleman that sat out that Fish was speaking of, like, what would he be like on the Pistons team? Would that be equivalent to like Cade Cunningham sitting out or something like that? Like, what's the big deal with that one?
Well, I mean, it's different, right? Because there's 11 guys out there on the pitch as opposed to basketball. When there's NBA team with just 5 players and stuff like that. So I mean, as far as that goes, yeah, I mean they didn't have their full 5 or anything like that. They didn't have their full 5 out there. Oh, okay. No problem. Yeah. So
what just happened?
So, I mean,
what just happened?
Well, I'm not sure. They didn't have their. I don't know, man. I got my coffee in a paper straw, man. That's what I'm doing right now. But it's the equivalent of a Cade Cunningham. I mean, Zardes was out there, man. He scored almost 100 goals in his MLS career. He's been a player.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Neil, from the broadcasting side, and as exciting. We talk about the players and the organization and building, but you've been with this team, for a long time since watching Ground One. What goes through your head as Maxi Rodriguez is lining up for that penalty kick, when you know the gravity of this kick and trying to get to the call? Like, can you take us a little bit inside of where your head's at when you know, like, you can vibe that there might be a really good opportunity for a goal? You might have to make a goal call, or in this instance, when it is a free kick, so you're either going to make the save or make the goal. Can you tell us, like, going into that moment, did you have time to sort of enjoy it?
I remember what I was thinking when the kid got awarded. I was like, this is the biggest moment in the history of this club. That's all I was thinking about. And, it doesn't impact it doesn't impact how I'm going to call it or anything like that. It's just one of those things where I knew what was at stake. Certainly, and all I kept thinking about was Maxi, right? Like,
and we've had him on this show
in the history of this club. Right?
I'm not saying this, Neil. I'm not saying Antoine Opino, Maxi Rodriguez, and Nate, the goalie, who we've had on our show, are the three integral parts as we watch Maxi Rodriguez line up for the biggest goal in DCFC history, and it was last night at Keyworth in a penalty kick. Play for the fans too.
That celebration's awesome too.
What Neil was alluding to about ESPN FC giving the props to the Northern Guard, and as we're showing it here for the fans at home, what does that quote say? I can't read it.
It says USL champion side Detroit City FC beats MLS side Columbus Crew in the US Open Cup. Look at the atmosphere.
Isn't that awesome?
That's dope.
That's
So
ESPN.
where do we go from here, Neil? What's as far as the mentality of the
Winning the
club,
round of
what it
32.
meant last night? And I know Trevor James and we've talked to the guys that they're plugging along, but what does this mean now? What's next?
Probably another MLS side, I would imagine, depending on what the draw is. And the U.S. Open Cup, it's a great tournament because it is truly open. They include, this would be the equivalent, DMAC, of the NHL doing a tournament where the AHL teams are in there, maybe the OHL teams and stuff like that, where everybody's got a shot. Everybody can determine their own fate. So it's awesome. It's a real cool experience, and you go out there and you play, and the winner moves on, the loser goes home, and when they kick the ball off, man, all that matters is that next 90 minutes.
That's awesome.
Fish, you got anything else for Neil? Any more negative or any more questions?
I just want Detroit City winning the round of 32 to shut up all the idiots that if they lose 5-4-0, then they're going to say, oh, Columbus didn't put out a first-team squad.
Do we have any worry of what Fish is worried about, Neil, or can we put that to rest?
No, I mean, how many more times do they have to do it?
Yeah.
That's
my point exactly.
How many more times? What's the number? How many times you guys got to see it? We got to, does Detroit City FC have to go beat Barcelona, Juventus? I mean, what's the number to you?
No, but the MLS side has to put out a good squad. I'm actually protecting your Twitter, believe it or not. I'm
the one they
protecting
put
your
out
Twitter.
last night, that wasn't a good club?
Neil's with the
Zardes makes more money than the entire Detroit City FC team.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
He was out there, was he not?
No, he was out there.
What else do you need? Like what else can they do? Give me the team that they have to beat.
Well, I don't know, like LA Galaxy or the Seattle, like a full team squad. You know what I mean? Like a full squad, like the best out there.
Okay.
All right, Fish.
So the organization that won the 2020 MLS Cup, that wasn't enough. We got to go. Okay, that's fine. We'll see, Fish. As Drake says, we gonna see.
Well,
hey, we gonna see. How about real quick,
there.
Neil? I love the of course. I love the Max of course call. I think that, and that said, to your point, taking us behind the scenes of it being the biggest PK, biggest goal, biggest opportunity in DCFC history, it was just matter of fact. I think to that point, listen to your call is what you're telling Fish. We gonna be all right, but we gonna see.
Absolutely, guys.
congratulations to DCFC, Sean, getting to meet him and knowing that whole experience just went down last night. It's amazing for them and all the supporters. But I'm pretty sure they played some great defense last night. D-Mac, you mind telling us about some great defense?
Good luck calling tonight.
What's that?
Hey, good luck tonight too, Neil.
Real Salt Lake match. I'll be on that call too on ESPN Plus.
Who are they playing?
We're going to see how really the true pro he is tonight.
Oh, my favorite team.
He didn't know these teams. We're going to see how much a true pro has studied to get those names. Thank you, Neil. We'll check in with you, see when you get back. Enjoy the weather.
Yes.
Tap in.
Bring it back with you.
Tap in. You got it. That's Neil Rule. Co-host Big D Energy, usually in that seat.
Two Furnace Tony, they call
chaos. Him. You know who gets it, guys? Thank you, Samuel, for coming in there and taking that heat and letting everybody know the conversations before the show that we have to deal with every day. But thank goodness, you know what we all have to have our backs? Guardian Alarm. Because Guardian Alarm, they get it, whether for your home, your business, even in before the show. Guardian Alarm's here making sure there's no super shenanigans. You can monitor everything with your phone, turn up the temperatures, turn the lights on or off. If your house is on fire, it'll let you know, or that silent deadly killer when you sleep, carbon monoxide. But if you want Guardian Alarm, be part of the Woodward Sports Network. Big D Energy family, you can too. Please give us a call, 1-800.
Stay out!
That's 1-800.
Stay out!
Oh, man, hey, there's a lot of medicated people out there today. They might not be able to hear you because they're in another altered state, so I need it really, really loud. Hey, guys, happy 420. 1-800.
Stay out! Get out of my house! Anyone that wants to go to Michigan, come and have it.
Hey, and by the way, stay out of Sammy's flannel closet. He doesn't stash his weed there. Anyway, Guardian Alarm, your local security experts. They will protect everything you got. Big D Energy, easy in for Neil. D-Mac, Spencer, and Sammy Flannel. Fish even in for a cameo. Wow, what a day. It's hump day.
Hump day.
420. Woodward Sports.
You my favorite holiday.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Cintron is the official energy drink of the Red Wings, proud partners of the Detroit Pistons, and exclusively served at Little Caesars Arena. If you're looking for premium ingredients, long-lasting energy, balanced hydration, essential vitamins, and great taste, Cintron is your top choice.
Fresh, juicy, hormone-free chicken. Wingstop has the best traditional wings. Try signature sausage Jamaican jerk or lemon pepper. Tossed in our perfection in any sauce you pick. When the wings are this good, you're allowed to be a snob. Order online now at wingstop.com. Wingstop. We just have better wings. What up, though, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Big D Energy and happy 420. We're in the pontoon. We're riding. We're rocking. I'm Easy from the Woodward Heavyweights. I'm joined by Neil Rule, his tag team partner, the four-time Stanley Cup champion, Darren McCarty. We got Flannel Sam in the sound booth. My man Kung Fu Spinny in the TD booth. And we're getting things rocking. We're definitely going to talk some football later today, too. You know we got to talk NFL draft. We had to talk NFL draft every single day. You guys know the NFL's king, so we brought you guys an NFL draft expert, Russell Brown, and he will be here at the top of the next hour. However, there's some sad news here in the prep, and it's hard for me to come out. I hate admitting this about the team that I love and spend so much time and effort into every Sunday and every offseason, looking up who they're picking up and and who they're possibly drafting and how much so and so's getting paid. But the Detroit Lions are one of two franchises to not win a playoff game in the last 20 years. D-Mac.
Who's the other one?
The other one's the Miami Dolphins.
And I would say the Miami Dolphins are in better shape than we are now to make the playoffs. So
yeah,
I think that, that doesn't, I guess you do the math and that doesn't surprise. I mean, we haven't won a playoff game, let alone be in almost 30 years. So
yeah,
something that we all know around here. I think that when you throw it in your face, you see it in lights like it is. Maybe a little bit reality, but that's not gonna. That doesn't do nothing.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean,
you Lions, you suck. Oh, okay, great. You're a Lions fan. You're a loser. Oh, okay, great. I haven't been hearing that very long.
That's the thing too, is that it says 20 years, right? The statistic that, hey, we're the only two teams that haven't won in 20 years. But for the Detroit Lions, it goes further than that. Like, it's been longer than 20 years for us, like in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, that makes it look better than it actually is. Who was, I think, 90 to 91, I think was the last playoff victory. Yeah. That's before I was born. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, that's what I'm telling you. So stuff like this is just sort of like, oh, hey, look at this. I'd be, at least with Miami, they have an undefeated season. The year I was born, 50 years ago.
And like you said, they're in better shape. I did want to say one thing though, because up until recently, there were two more teams a part of that club, that have won a playoff game in 20 years, and that was the Cleveland Browns and Cincinnati Bengals. And I just want to, I guess, kind of give people the roadmap to how they change it around, and it's something that I preach every day, something that Neil Rule kind of preaches every day when it comes to salary cap stuff, and it's that rookie quarterback.
Well, draft a salary cap, and you look at what Cincinnati. Here's what Cincinnati did, right?
They
got the opportunity, and they did not miss. They did not miss on their picks. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase,
for sure,
right, and even back, having. They had draft picks in place. They had sort of the team built in place. But when they got these top picks, they did not miss it. Can we agree that Joe Burrow is their franchise quarterback?
For sure.
Right, for sure. And Jamar Chase, being a wide receiver but drafted that high, deserved to be drafted. He was like a unicorn. And the fact of what they brought from LSU, the fact that we all sat here and laughed and said, how do they not, after getting him almost murdered his first year, not draft Penei Sewell? We're the benefit of that. Instead, they take Chase. Well, you know what? Because it seemed that worked. Their gamble worked because why? They just played in the Super Bowl.
Well, let me ask you this, D-Mac, though. Was Baker Mayfield the right pick for the Browns?
Well, obviously, right now, no.
And
at the time, because I don't know. Here it goes down to Baker, what you put around him, and I guess it's more too of the organization believing in you, or you know what I'm saying. And you could say that they did for a while, but now they've sort of cut ties. I always thought Baker Mayfield was a decent quarterback and could be a decent quarterback, but sometimes things have to go right around him, right? With Joe Burrow, he can take not good things going on around him and make it good.
Make the most of it.
Baker, I don't think can. I think everything has to be in his favor. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and for me, like the point I was going to make ultimately for me is that rookie quarterback, that starting quarterback on a rookie contract that allows you to build a team around them, regardless of the talent.
Can we not take Joe Burrow because him being a first overall pick or whatever like that? Let's talk about the first year, because I think more to this argument or the conversation is a Justin Herbert in San Diego and what they're doing under being drafted high, but not the highest. You know what I'm saying? But developing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like
you have
the
to,
point is for me is the contract. Like how
but with
Neil
these
says.
guys, they're this organization's guys, right? Like the organization, Cincinnati, put all their chips in on this guy. The organization, San Diego, put all their chips in on Herbert, right? No matter what anybody else says.
I don't know if it's putting all their chips in them though. They're just making the selection. That's what I'm saying. Like even how we said Baker Mayfield, is he the guy? We don't know, but the Browns are still able to have some sort of success with them. And that's why people are saying, hey, don't draft these quarterbacks in this year. It's like as long as you have a guy in there that's on a rookie deal, you can build a team around them. And if it doesn't work out,
right,
at the
you're
end
trying
of
to
it,
say that the value of the rookie quarterback contract is even bigger than if he plays or if he comes into a Pro Bowler. It's the fact that it gives you that opportunity to hit or miss with them.
Exactly. It puts you in a position to win.
And along those lines is that's great, but don't just draft a quarterback. You have to believe in the guy. You have to draft the guy that you believe in, that can be that guy, right? Some organizations don't believe that certain guys fit their schemes or don't like what they see. So the fact is, you still can't just draft the guy just because he's a quarterback. You have to actually like what you have, and then it depends where you're at, right? That's why, to this argument, right? If Malik Willis, or even to the conversation of Kenny Pickett, right? If Detroit doesn't like them at number 2 or whatever, who's left at 32? If there's a quarterback that they like because of the value with the contract and stuff like that, that's where I think it comes in. But you also, in the big scheme of things, have to look at where are you with your whole team. Because with Detroit, they technically can wait till next year because they have Goff under contract.
But in a way, I feel like it kind of like just sets you back a little bit more.
Maybe, maybe not.
Because
I mean, that's.
Yeah.
But is it set you back? So is it better to draft a Baker Mayfield and have him and pay him the money and him not pan out, or is it better to wait?
Well, to pay him, different thing, right? That's a whole separate conversation. But to draft him, yes, because again, like then you could truly build your team when you address things in free agency, or you could take on extra capital, in a trade.
So you're going the opposite effect, is that it doesn't matter how good your quarterback is, because the salary cap money that you'll have to build around him by the time, if he's there or he's not,
correct,
you can go out and pay.
And if he doesn't
the quarterback,
work,
so you turn the Cincinnati, San Diego thing into the LA. Rams.
Yes.
You turn.
Yes.
You. What you're saying is, right now,
that's exactly what the Browns are doing right now, too.
So you're looking at it as pieces to the puzzle.
Yes.
And this piece to the puzzle is more so on length of contract and what you have to pay the quarterback position compared to what the highest quarterback's paid, or what you have to pay somebody on the market. You use the money to build the rest of your team. If the quarterback's not the right quarterback, then you go out and spend it because the rest of your team's in place because you've drafted well, correct?
Correct. And two, like, for the people who want to, trade draft assets to draft a quarterback, I'd rather trade draft assets to draft a proven commodity, like how the Rams did, to get Stafford. I'd rather, if I'm giving something away, I'd rather take it on something that's a surefire like Stafford than a gamble and a rookie. But when can you
do that? You can't do that when you're building the basement foundation, right? You have to wait till you have the floor plan and the walls of the.
Yeah, this is years down the road.
Going to second,
yeah.
Right? You know
this,
what I'm saying? So there's stages to that.
For sure.
So again,
but
when
I think stage
always
one
say
is drafting
that this
the quarterback.
draft is a fork in the road draft, which way are we going to go?
Yeah.
Right? Are we going to go the way of, say, the Cincinnatis and try to draft the guys that and under the contracts, or are we going to go and build the team around the quarterback and pay the quarterback when it's time for the quarterback to be the guy, right?
Correct.
Two different ways to think.
And I think that's a big part of the foundation, though. We weren't the only two teams in this playoff drought. The Browns were there and the Bengals were there. You look at the Souls things and what they did was drafting a quarterback, and people are saying wait till the team is ready. Wait till the team's ready. All these quarterbacks, when Joe Burrow, for instance, when he got drafted, were the Bengals ready? No. When Baker Mayfield got drafted, were the Browns ready? No. That's part of that. The foundation is that quarterback, and then you build around him.
So my question to you is: Is this just about winning a playoff game, or is this about winning a championship?
Winning a championship, ultimately.
So then this is irrelevant. You're trying to not do what the Browns did. You're trying to do what Cincinnati did. You know what I'm saying? Don't get caught into just getting to win a playoff game as that's your Super Bowl. The idea is to compete for a Super Bowl, and in this league, we've seen that things can flip quicker than other leagues, and if you do it right.
What are you competing for in the playoffs, though? The Super Bowl. Getting to the dance.
What I'm saying is, but don't put the Browns and the Bengals in the same category, because the Browns did it to win a game and whatever else, and they're not in any similar shape to what the Bengals are in as a championship team. So you want to make sure you do it. Great. What are you going to do? There's two different cars, right? Obviously, the Browns car is a crappier car than the Bengals car. So you want to do right because
I don't know now, though,
because as you said, the Bengals showed how to win in the playoffs and how to build the team. So you want to make sure, right, to your point, that you don't just do it like, oh, well, they did it to get out of this. No, what I can honestly say about Cincinnati and Cleveland to get to the playoff win, and what we're seeing now, and even in Miami, what are they all doing? Things differently than they did the 20 years previously, right? We got a new regime. They got a new regime. Other new regimes. All that's, different stuff. So it's about changing the operating, right? Change the way they did it.
Yeah.
So that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and like I said too, I just think the base core foundation of it Is when
But
you
to
go
your
fishing.
point, to your point, it might maybe the question is if you do draft a quarterback, maybe it's a little less dense path that you have to travel, right?
Yeah.
Between guys and hit or miss. The thing is that it's just whatever way you go, you have to get it right. And no matter what, got to eat, right?
Mhm.
Gotta eat.
Absolutely.
Where
You want to know
gonna
where I
eat?
eat?
I'm waiting for them to bring this in here. Why don't they bring this in on a Friday or something like this?
You know, I actually like that, Seafood Friday, because, you know, that's when they do the Friday night seafood buffet. I think that's the perfect time for them to do it. Big Boy, Seafood Festival is back and includes a Friday night seafood buffet. And it goes until April 24th. Catch it while you can. Fish and chips, fish fry, popcorn shrimp, and Spencer's favorite pike perch, and a new fish sandwich. It's available at all participating locations. It's Big D Energy. Stay tuned. We got Russell Brown coming in soon. And we're going to keep talking some football, guys. We know you guys love it. Give me some football, baby. Yeah. Jeez.
At Wing Snob, staying humble's not our forte. We just have better wings. We're back at it again with our crispy golden brown fries and our famous boneless wings. Juicy, tender, hormone-free chicken. Your favorite signature sauces with no bone. Just when you thought Wing Snob couldn't get any better. Order online at wingsnob.com today. Wing Snob. We just have better wings.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Counting down the hits until Miggy hits 3,000.
High drive, way back the other way, and gone! Cabrera hits another one.
The summer of Woodward sports is here.
What up, though? Welcome back to Big D Energy, and a happy 420 to you and yours. I am Easy, filling in for Neil Rule, the golden voice of Neil Rule, I should say, joined by his tag team mate, the four-time Stanley Cup champion, Darren McCarty. We got Flannel Sam in the audio booth, Kung Fu Spinning in the TD booth, and we're just getting things cracking. Now, before we left, we were talking about, you know, the playoff droughts for the you know, the teams, I guess. The two teams, I guess, I've won playoff games in 20 years. I apologize for that. The Detroit Lions and the Miami Dolphins. We got into a little bit of a quarterback conversation. Flannel Sam, Spence, you guys didn't get to speak your piece on that. What was your whole take on the Detroit Lions and Dolphins and why they've been playoff or just not in existence in the championship contention in 20 years?
I mean, they haven't hit on all their draft picks. I remember when they actually were pretty good in 2014. They were able to get Stafford, Sue, and Calvin. But in that point in time, that you were actually penalized for drafting well because that was before they scaled down the rookie contracts. They missed on a lot of picks like Charles Rogers, Joey Harrington, Mike Williams, Roy Williams. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. But that brings me to the point that I actually trust Brad Holmes moving forward. I think he has the chance to be the best GM in Lions history, and I think he's going to prove it.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
It's I'm the same. Obviously, we all know why the Lions weren't in the playoffs and weren't winning playoff games over the years. Poor ownership, poor management. And now that we have a situation where Brad Holmes is in there, where he's got a proven track record of making these picks, work, of making these late round guys come out and actually show out, I think that's a good sign. And definitely exactly to what Sam was said, when we finally drafted well, we were in the wrong era of drafting well. Matt Stafford is probably going to go down as the highest earner in the history of the NFL because he was the last number one quarterback drafted when they weren't set at rookie minimums.
Yeah.
So we gave him a fat contract as soon as he was in the league, and we had to do the same with Sue, and we had to do the same with Calvin. And so at that point, there's not much you can do when your team is hamstrung between three guys who are all should be on rookie deals. Imagine if we had Stafford, Sue, and Calvin on rookie deals, and we could go out, we could have got a Mario Williams. We could have gone out, we could have got one of these big name free agents to bring in and to make that defense or that offense that much more explosive. And the fact that we couldn't do it really hamstrung us into the point to where we're not going to win these games. We're not going to win a playoff game.
Yeah. Yeah, and the whole reason why I went on the whole quarterback thing again is I looked at the franchises who made it out of that disparity of not winning playoff games, those long droughts, and the one thing they both had in common again was that rookie contract.
Why are you focusing on coming out with garbage? Like, why are you focusing on losers? You're comparing yourself on how losers got out of this way. Why don't you go to, like our boy Billy says on the thing, look at what the New England way with would you, and Drew Bledsoe's better than Jared Goff, but we could say the way that New England, they held, Bledsoe held it, and then Brady came on. Now, Brady being the 6th round pick, no one expected it, but that's the reality of what had happened. So having that placeholder, let's look to the championship teams. And, I use Cincinnati, and I'm guilty of it. I use Cincinnati because that's the closest thing that we can be there, and they've gotten out of it. But I think that they're also, too, what we saw is that they're not going to get worse, right? This wasn't the one and done and the misnomer. What I'm saying is, how did the other teams get out of this that are consistently in the playoffs, right? You look at, right, to this point, the Steelers. What do? They get their quarterback and have the quarterback. To your point about having the quarterback to sustain that, but it's being able to have the right guy, and then it comes down to the right price and stuff like this. But what I'm saying is that we got it's also the mentality of winning a playoff game, right? It's the same thing. And I'm not saying it's wrong or it's bad or whatever, but I would rather look and see what are the successful teams. Like the LA Rams who just won the Super Bowl. Well, they waited, they built it through the draft with the help of the guy that's drafting for us, and then brought key pieces in, right? And used it that way. So maybe that's, in the big scheme of things, is that how Brad Holmes is going to do it here? We won't know. It'll come down, like I said, fork in the road at this draft.
Well, let me say this to that point. Tom Brady was drafted, correct? Like Tom Brady was a quarterback on
right. That's what I mean. Drafted late. So you could, to your point. Scenario, that's what I'm saying. To wait to where you're right. That's what I want. Look at New England champions instead of looking somewhere else. And they got the unicorn.
The only reason why I compare us to losers is, let's face it,
we are losers.
We are losers, right? And those losers have seemed to make a flip.
I get it.
And a switch, and they're contending.
I get it. I want you to look there, but look beyond that, because we're better than that. And I know that we're not record-wise, but our attitude and the way that our organization is handling itself, right? To Spencer's point about why before, because ownership stunk, because management stunk, because coaching stunk, right? But we could all agree is that I don't feel that way right now. So yes, to your point, let's see how these teams did it to get out of the mud, but how did the other teams do it to sustain it? And there you go.
It all kind of revolves, again, though, to me is that.
And more so than that, at the end of the day, what's it come down to? Contracts.
Yes.
Right? It comes down to, because what are we talking about? Why draft this quarterback? Because it's the money that you're going to have to pay him.
Absolutely. Matthew Stafford was the highest paid quarterback to win a Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. And I can't think of his name, but in terms of like percentage of salary cap, the highest quarterbacks ever taken, and the team still win the Super Bowl was, I think it was either 13 or 11%. And again, like you said, ultimately comes down to contracts.
So what are all of them now? Look at the way, right? Look at the way it is. Aaron Rodgers signs 50.
Yeah.
Derek Carr just goes 3 for 40 at 120. Right? You look at the quarterbacks. It's between $40 and $50, or 40 and $50 million. You're gonna have to pay him a year. That's why it's the same thing. When Matt Stafford signed his deal, he was the biggest,
highest paid quarterback,
quarterback in the league.
And then it changes.
At what, like $26 million or so? That's you're paying Goff. That's a deal. So where does this all work out? Because it always changes. And to your point, that's why where you're spending the money you have to hit on, whether it's free agency or not.
Yeah.
And the Rams are a great example. They mortgaged the farm, but brought in what they needed to win the big one.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be fair too, like they did what they had to get to that point. When they had Goff, when they had him on his rookie deal, they went and they got as many pieces as they could.
Right here, with the clock. Right. That's why it's so important that even though we're sort of holding right now, there's so many things going on. Because after this draft, to look, we see, okay, we're going to be excited. Oh, we got this guy, or we got this guy, or we didn't want this guy, or whatever. But at the end of the day, when training camp comes around, when exhibition comes around, when the first game of the season, who's going to actually get out there? And that's whereas that clock starts ticking again,
You put my clock
we're gonna see more
into your mouth.
Yes, and until then, keep my clock out of your mouth, especially today.
Well,
that's just rude.
Happy 420, everybody. We have a brilliant football mind in the building, and I can't wait to get to him after break. Actually, Should I jump to him now, asking this quarterback question, or should we wait till after we come back?
Well,
got
you know,
about
we
2
can
more
preview
minutes.
it. But Russ, while you're sitting there, go ahead. Hit him with this one before. You can give him the proper intro after the break, but give him like the little hey, here's our insider.
Yeah. We're fixing his audio situation now because I have a question for you, Russ, and it's been floating around all morning. I'm dying to ask it to you because I know you're a brilliant mind. You study these things, and the question is, if you go back in time, would you kill baby Hitler?
You didn't. You just said remove. That's the question you wanted.
I'm sorry, Russ.
Well, what does that have to do with quarterbacks?
Today's Hitler's birthday. So
Today's Hitler's birthday.
Is it really?
Yeah, inside from early in the morning. But
well, what does it have to? Because I could cut a bad joke.
What's your take on the whole having a quarterback on that rookie deal or team friendly deal result into success? It's kind of proven track record at this point, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean it works to a certain extent, right? It works, but it's also if that quarterback, for example, Malik Willis, prime example in this draft, he needs work, he needs help, he needs to get his anticipation, his touch down as a quarterback. If you get him for that extra year and you don't have to pay him, as you guys are saying, $40 to $50 or $40 to $50 million, right?
Russ, it's dollars in my world. It's just dollars in my. I got a couple here.
Right. So you got to pay him $40, $50 million in a couple of years. If you can void that for one extra season, it opens up your window that just a little bit for a Super Bowl and things like that. So yeah, it does work. Does it always work at 32? No. But does it work in the first round somewhere? Yes. And I mean, it's talking about quarterbacks. If we're talking Lions, who's to say that they sit at 32 and wait for one to fall? Who's to say that they don't move up and maybe get one later? We never talk about that option.
We never do. You're absolutely right.
And that's a little preview. Why don't you go down the Twitter machine at Russ NFL Draft and check out Russ Brown as we're going to do a couple little short breaks and come back and get right into this draft talk and stuff like this. And Russ even knows that D-Max Stoner on this 420 is real apparent. But, guys, see what Russ is going to talk about. He's talking about draft. Guys getting drafted. He's going to talk about what we can expect this season and stuff. Where else would you go than mybookie.com to place all your bets? Yes, go there today. Enter promo code Woodward when you sign up for 50%. Bang, bonus right there. Extra money to bet on who the Lions are going to take. Are they going to take a quarterback in the first round? Who knows? That's right. Free bets just for entering Woodward when you sign up my bookie account. Plus, you can bet on anything from wrestling, soccer, all major sports. Even NASCAR, if you like winning. D-Mac likes winning. Why? Kyle Busch last weekend plus 1,600. Anyways, bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.com. If you have a problem with gambling, call the Michigan Gambling Hotline, 1-800-270-7117. Big D Energy. We'll be back with Russell Brown.
Big D. It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risks, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
The official sticker partner of Woodward Sports. When it comes to stickers and signage, think Sticker Genius. We support this local Detroit business, and we are excited to show you our latest project, the Planet Fitness Studio from Sticker Genius. If you need custom stickers, wall graphics, window graphics, and plenty more, reach out to our friends at Sticker Genius. We at Woodward Sports couldn't be any happier with the service they provided us. They were quick, easy to deal with, and super professional. Head to stickergenius.com today.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
What up, though? Welcome back to Big D Energy. Happy 420 to you and yours. I'm Easy, filling in for Neil Rule, the golden voice of Neil Rule. I'm joined by his tag team partner, the four-time Stanley Cup champion, Darren McCarty. Dutch McCarty, some may call him.
That's my name, Dutch.
Partner.
Red Dead Redemption. I'm the Dutch. Make sure when you see Maddie in the hallway, you call her Sadie.
Call her
Sadie Adler.
Have you played Red Dead?
Can I be Arthur Morgan? Who's Arthur Morgan?
Yes,
You are?
you sure can. You look like Arthur Morgan. Sir, bring some Arthur Morgan knowledge of this NFL draft.
I gladly will.
Big facts. All right, real quick, because I know on the prep we have linebackers, but do you guys want to carry on the quarterback stuff, or you want
I
jump
want
to
to know.
linebackers?
Listen, we're talking to Russell Brown. Right?
That's what I'm saying. We
talking
got
about
Smitty.
NFL
You guy knows
draft.
everything.
We can get in. Let's get to linebackers. But
Okay.
right here, right now, going into the draft, 8 days away. Who said it on the Twitter? Because this is hilarious. Apologize, it was too good. 8 days until the draft, and 4 months of arguing over the wrong guy we picked.
Yeah.
So here we go.
That's facts. That's big.
Do you
facts.
have a consensus number 2 pick for the Lions right here that you go with, or do you have an inkling that you think that, hey, from all the tea leaves and what Dan Campbell said and what he hasn't said, and that they are going a certain way?
Yeah, I mean, I don't buy into the Kayvon Thibodeau's not our guy, right? Like the little rumor that Dan Campbell
Smoke
said
and
that.
mirrors, I called that one out.
Yeah, there's no way. But I did get some intel that when the Liberty Pro Day was happening, that a scout had told me, hey, I'm headed to the Liberty Pro Day to see future Detroit Lion quarterback Malik Willis. Now, again, that was at that time. That's before the Trayvon Walker stuff at 1. Could the Jaguars still go offensive line at 1? If they do, maybe it's an Evan Neal or something like that. And if that's the case, I think Aiden Hutchinson makes a lot of sense. I think that is their ultimate, like the top guy on the board. Then it's probably like Kayvon and Malik, and I think they're going to decipher which one of those 3 guys. But if I had to pick today, I really think the guy that makes the most sense is Malik. I know the betting favorite is Kayvon, but if you're going to roll the dice on any position, it's quarterback and you're betting on upside, this is a team that can afford to bet on that upside. When you look at the way it's structured, they've got draft capital next year, draft capital this year, they've got money in good places, and they're pretty well built up front on the offensive line. Wide receiver, they've got some weapons. So when I look at it, I go, they can afford it because they got 32, 34, 90, or 66, and 97. They've got enough capital in this draft in the top 100 to get some quality players to build around Malik Willis, which Liberty didn't do.
How would you feel? So what would be better in your mind, Malik at 2 or like Ritter at 32? Or Corral, they're even saying it in Peter Schrager's latest mock draft.
I would take Malik at 2 because realistically, Ritter won't be there at 32. I'm just off that right now. I mean, but like I mentioned before the break, could they package 32 and something else and move up from, let's say, 32 to, I don't know,
20 or
18 or 19 or something like that? Philly's been active. Could they move up there and get a quarterback like a Desmond Ridder if he's available? Mm-hmm. Very much so. Could the Chargers move out of 17? Nobody really looks at them because they like Trevor Penning. They like an offensive tackle. I love Jamison Williams for them, but Jamison Williams is going to be gone. So if their board starts to shake a different way, do they try to trade out? And a team like Detroit try to trade up to get the quarterback like Ritter. I mean, I think that's an option. But Ritter's interesting because he did visit with Seattle, and that's the only quarterback Seattle's met with. And if they're not sold on Drew Lock, I'm not sold on Drew Lock.
Yeah.
If they want a guy and it's Ritter, they might take him at 9.
So there's the question too, right? Are you prepared to draft a Drew Lock? Are you prepared to draft? You're talking about drafting a quarterback because it helps your salary cap, but are you prepared to miss?
Right.
And to your point, Russ, that if there's any team here that could swing and miss at this time because of where they're at, it is the Lions.
Yep.
Which brings it in. We talk players and stuff, but you brought up a good point, and I'm always interested in this because there's always one team, right? The one team that gets nervous or moving around or is going to wait to implement their play. It's either the poker game where they're going to check raise all in, or they're like the horse race where they got the finisher and they're waiting to bring the horse out. Is San Diego one of these teams at the top? Because I always look at San Diego that the way they're putting their team together, they're like a piece away. And I always thought like a Jordan Davis would be perfect there because what can't San Diego do? Stop the run. So is San Diego one of the teams that you think that could, like, who's going to move up, or who would be, we talk about, trade down, but who would be a trade partner? And who would, like, legitimately, are we hearing anything? Because to me, this draft, 4, 5, or 6 guys could go number 1. It could be a totally different top 5 draft. Like, this could be the top 5 guys in this draft might not be the top 5 guys chosen because there's so much unknown. Does that mean that because of the unknown that there might be more moves, or are you hearing anything like teams sniffing around to do stuff like that?
Well, I think Jacksonville wants to move out of that first pick.
I think that's pretty much a given, right?
Yeah, and
they're not good at playing poker.
No, they're not. And I think maybe the Jets would be a team that would be intrigued to maybe move up from 4 to 1 if they really value Kayvon, which would shock the world. But I think, Carolina's interested in moving out of 6 because they don't have a second-round pick. Could they move out of 6 if, let's say, they really value Malik or Kenny Pickett and one of those guys are off, or the offensive tackles? They've done a lot of research on Ike Mekwonu, Evan Neal, and Charles Cross. And the Giants really like Charles Cross. If Houston takes Ekwonu and let's say Neal goes 1, the 3 tackles are gone. If they don't value a QB, could they move back and still get a QB like a Ritter and still get a mid-round pick, or get that mid-round pick to maybe get Jimmy Garoppolo? So I think there's a lot of different options, but for the sake of the Lions and moving up or moving out, I don't see them moving out of 2, but again, moving up, 17 makes sense, like the Chargers, especially you mentioned Jordan Davis, but if he's gone, they could move back to 32 and take a Perry on Winfrey. There might be a chance that Devontae Wyatt is there. So they've got options for an interior defensive lineman and moving back. But also, Baltimore at 14, there's a big jump there. You're talking half the board, but they can move back. So I think they're going to look at different options. But it just ultimately, how does that board fall basically through those first 12, 13 picks?
What is the trade value of a pick 17?
I don't know what it is off the offhand of the trade chart. They got the trade chart with all the numbers and all that, but you're definitely swapping 17 and 32, and maybe you're giving up 2 third-rounders. Maybe you're giving up a third this year and a third next year or something like that. And maybe that's a little too rich, but If it's what you need for a quarterback, you're going to pay the ante. And that's why I say maybe you just take Malik at 2 if Aiden Hutchinson's gone and you have question marks about Kayvon Thibodeau or something like that. Roll the dice on Malik, because if he becomes a superstar, a stud quarterback, you're going to be the laughing stock for passing on him because you took Trayvon Walker, who's nowhere near ready some of these other edge rushers.
I'm not a fan of his. Yeah.
Too high.
Way too high.
Benefit to that system. But that's so interesting, because is it more important? And I think I know the answer, but here's the question I ask: how long, covering the draft this year and covering the Lions this year, covering them last year with the same sort of, that's got to be a different feel than in years past. Can you talk about because you're sitting here and I'm sitting here and I really don't know who they're going to take or who they favor. Are you sitting in the same spot? And talk about being a draft guy, being a guy that this is what you do, focus on this. I'm trying to get to people to understand that the way that they're doing it in Allen Park and the way Brad Holmes is doing it is different than in the past, and it's consistent.
Yep.
Right? Is it consistent to last year's preparation for the draft?
Yeah, I think it is to an extent. Last year was obviously a big wild card because we didn't know what to expect from this team, but you saw how it kind of fell into place, and I think this year is kind of the same thing. They had certain guys valued really high last year. Sewell was one of those guys. You saw how thrilled they were that they got them at 7, right?
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing here. I think they really value an Aiden Hutchinson and maybe even a Kayvon Thibodeau, and maybe they really are okay, one of these guys is going to be here. That's a safe pick. We want to continue to build in the trenches and get that dominant edge rusher. But this year's draft is so different from prior drafts because it is truly one of the hardest ones to just kind of figure out. It really is. And I think when I look at this draft, covering the Lions now here, it's I don't know what direction they go because I see 3 guys that they can legitimately take and make them better. And normally I'm okay, I don't want this guy. I don't want Walker. And I really don't want Hamilton because I don't think that changes anything for your team. But I do believe Hutchinson, Thibodeau, or Willis can change your team and structure it right.
Real quick, what about Mel Kiper's 4.0 and just throwing Sauce Gardner up there? And we agree Sauce Gardner is a bit of a unicorn. He could be with his stats that he's come out of college and whatever like this, we talked about that he could be a Pro Bowl, All-Pro, Hall of Fame cornerback.
Yeah.
But what do you make of that when a guy like Mel Kiper, tell me, because you're trying to be taken seriously and do stuff like this, is that just how do you view, like there's no chance? Is there a chance that's, first of all, do you think there's any chance that Sauce Gardner would go number 2 to the Lions? And the second part of that, why does Mel Kiper do stuff like that?
I personally don't know. I think after you do 4 or 5 of these things, I'm a 2-3 mock draft kind of guy. That's it. I keep it simple. I wait till the Super Bowl, whatever. But with him, I mean, maybe he just got bored and he was like, let me do something a little different and get some clicks and just view it from a different perspective. I mean, it makes sense when you want to maybe create an elite secondary, but I don't see them doing that. And especially when you go 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you take Jeff Okudah at 3. This is not the way that this regime is built. And it's not the way that they do things. Brad Holmes values these later, undrafted, free agent type of secondary players. A.J. Parker last year from Kansas State, a UDFA. Jerry Jacobs, undrafted free agent. He values those types of players, and I think that's very important for him and just this organization. And there's a kid from East Carolina, his last name McMillan. They really like him. Scott Bischoff, who was here earlier this morning, we talked about it on our podcast. They really like him. He could be a 6th-round pick, but he might end up having some upside. And I think when you look at the way that they build this secondary, they're valuing these guys later. They're not going to value a safety at 2 or a corner at 2, regardless of how good they are, because they realize the biggest needs that they have is generating pressure, which is far more important on defense, and the quarterback position, which is far more important than any position on the field.
D-Mac. You know what, Russ? We got time to stick around. I want to get into. We got into linebackers, and I'm on this big speed kick about linebackers, and I'd love to hear who would fit into later, in the first round, second, third round with the linebacker that I want. But first of all, I got to tell everybody, you got to get your fitness on. Yes, you see it every day, this Planet Fitness studio. Planet Fitness, home to the judgment-free zone where you can work out in a non-intimidating, judgment-free atmosphere. Membership, just $10 a month, or the Black Card for $22.99. The Black Card. Members, guess what you enjoy? These such amenities as unlimited tanning, hydro massage chairs, and total body enhancement, along with access to over 2,000 locations worldwide. And unlimited guest privileges. Yes, go down to Midtown, Detroit Pistons Performance Center. It's open there. You can work out right there. Go to planetfitness.com today and sign up. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. Why easy do we go to Planet Fitness? Because your fitness is essential. It's not essential to easy. Anyways, Woodward Sports will be right back.
32 teams, 7 rounds, 224 young men who today are about to become players in the National Football League. A day where lives are changed, fates are decided, dynasties are born, and the clock is always ticking.
Draft day in Detroit. A time of hope, a time of wonder, and a time for Detroit Lions fans to act like it's the friggin' Super Bowl. Join Woodward Sports and hundreds of other diehard Lions fans for our NFL draft party and live stream from the Brass Rail Detroit. All your favorite and not so favorite Woodward Sports people will be there. Adam, Terry, Neil, D-Mac, Braylon, Ryan, the heavyweights, NFL scout Scott Bischoff, Maz, Stick, Jeff Maddie, Joey, and more. Come join us at the Brass Rail Thursday, April 28th from 7 p.m. until pick number 32. See you downtown for draft day with Woodward Sports. Brought to you by Syntron, Gypsy Vodka, and Planet Fitness.
6 dark corners, a driveway and a patio, 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart, right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Dutch, don't let this camera fool you. I am a pasty white man. It's all thanks Chili Peppers Tanning. I got this Australian gold going on, you know what I'm saying? Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D with spotless, sanitized rooms and trained and certified professionals. Join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. Don't forget to pick up that Australian gold, designer skin, Caltan, and Swedish beauty lotions. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. The hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, the darkest tans, and it's your vitamin D headquarters. 26 locations and more coming.
Ask for the easy bronze bell.
Yeah, that's for the easy bronze.
Bell, right there.
Welcome back to Big D Energy. I'm Easy from the Woodward Heavyweights, filling in for the Golden Voice Neil Rule. I'm joined by his tag team partner, the four-time Stanley Cup champion, Darren McCarty. We got Flannel Sam, day 43 of his flannels in the audio booth. Kung Fu spinning the TD booth. And a football genius in the Maz chair, I'm calling it. That's the most comfy chair in the house, man.
Man, it is very comfortable.
You listed a couple names and who you take at 2 if you were running the car to the stage. But I got to ask, my guy Peter Schrager, he's had like the most accurate mock drafts because he doesn't do his based off like...
Wasn't more accurate than mine last year.
Hey.
Say that again?
It wasn't more accurate than mine last year.
Mic drop.
It's true.
Okay.
We just spit facts here.
Yeah, we spit facts.
I don't mean
true.
to flex,
so if you want,
but...
so on that point,
hey, that's a big
on
flex.
that point about the fact of getting pressure and about speed, and I went into it yesterday that in the new NFL,
Yeah,
it's like
morning
the
show
hockey,
wants
the size
cocaine,
and speed
we
is the
want
new
speed.
size. So talk to me about middle rounds, linebackers, defensive guys who are out there, guys who prognosticates better drafts in history than some of these guys that you're seeing. Who you got?
Yeah,
who you been looking at?
Yeah, and I mean, no disrespect to Peter, he's great. He does phenomenal work. He's very well connected, things like that. But when I look at the middle rounds here, away from the Kobe Dean, Devin Lloyd, because let's be honest, Devin Lloyd's not an option in this draft. They're not going to get him. There's no if the quarterbacks fall, there's no way he gets past 20 to Pittsburgh or 21 to the Patriots, regardless if we never know what they draft. But for later in this draft, I'll start with an interesting name that I don't think I really want, and that's Chad Muma from Wyoming. I do want him, but I don't want him. He runs fast. He looks good, but he doesn't take on blocks very well. Watching him last night against Air Force, again, triple option type of offense, so it's tough to really figure that out. You've got guards, you've got centers, you've got tackles, polling, you've got fakes in the backfield. There's a lot to go on, and when you're in the middle of the defense, you're the Mike linebacker, there's a lot to read. But he reads the guards and tackles and center. He reads the offensive line well, but he doesn't take on the blocks the correct way. You want to engage on your blocks, he's turning his shoulders. He's overcommitting into his lane, into the B or C gap, and the ball's going right up the A gap on a trap play. And it's like, okay, I get that. But you watch him against Boise State, he's flying around, he looks great. Is he a realistic option at 32? Yes, but that's a little rich for my liking, and it's even a little rich for my liking
Really
at
rich.
34.
Yeah.
But if he's there at 66, I would consider it. But the other one would be somebody that they've looked at a little bit, Brian Asamoah. He ran a sub-4.5, 540, very quick, 6 foot, right around 230. Looked okay at the Senior Bowl, somebody I watched up close and personal. But the thing with him is he's a little bit undersized. He tackles really high. And will his overall game translate to the NFL consistently to be a 3-down backer? I don't know. But I don't know what the Lions really want out of linebackers. You're hearing, word that they want to move to a 4-man front. Well, that might not change anything at the linebacker spot because, to be honest, anybody in the chat that's going, well, we want a 4-3 type of backer or a 3-4 type of linebacker. There's no such thing of that anymore.
Yeah.
It's a lot of multiple different variations up front, a lot of nickel defenses where you have 5 defensive backs on the field. So you're seeing a lot of 4-2-5 type stuff. So Asamoah makes sense, but he's going to only be used sparingly. So he might be an interesting fit maybe at 97 or something like that. But the one name to really keep an eye on, and I wish he wasn't hurt, is Damon Clark from LSU. Calvin Shepard's come out and said, hey, this guy is like a little brother to me, very well connected to the LSU program. Shepard went there. But Clark is one of those guys that he false steps quite a bit, and I'll stand up and show you exactly what he does if you want. But he's one of those guys that he bunny hops in his stance, and he's false stepping, and if he's got to drop back in coverage, he's already a step or two behind anything behind him. But he had spinal surgery, and he's probably going to be out this entire year. But if you take him in maybe the 5th round and you value him in year 2 of his rookie contract, it might really work out for you. And when you look at the way Brad Holmes, what he comes from in L.A., they don't value linebackers. They don't draft them high. And I know we talk about how we might want to need, we might need one, but you've got Sean Dion Hamilton, Alex Anzalone, Derek Barnes, and Jared Davis. Are they really going to value a fifth linebacker and maybe only a 2-linebacker system? I don't know. And I hate saying that because I would love to see a Nakobe Dean or something like that, but I just don't know if they're ultimately going to do that. But Clark might be an interesting fit. And then the last name I'll just throw out here is Quay Walker. A lot of people say he's a first-rounder. I see a third-round player on tape. He's got 53 career games played. You got enough experience there. What you see with him is what you get. It's nothing's going to change there with him. He is who he is. He's 6'4", 240, runs like the wind. But at the NFL level, if you can't get off your blocks similar to Chad Muma, you're going to struggle a little bit. You can drop into coverage, you can blitz. But if I want a guy that's going to blitz, the best blitzing linebacker in this draft is Nakobe Dean. And keep in mind, the only team he's visited with this entire process, Detroit.
That's what I wanted to ask too. Is like him, he's a guy who was so highly coveted, during the college football season, and then come draft time, I get he hasn't tested, and then maybe this is the reason why. But like, why is he? I feel like, Scott kind of teased it. He may fall a little bit, kind of like a JOK did last year. What's the deal with Nakobe Dean? Why is he falling down on boards?
Well, he's got a knee issue right now. It's a meniscus or a cartilage issue in his knee, and that's why he didn't test at the Pro Day or the Combine. And when you get a linebacker that doesn't test, and I've talked about Asamoah running a 4.55 and Chad Muma running really well, all these other guys that run really well, it ultimately hurts his draft stock because play speed matters, but also you want to see some of that long speed because Chad Muma, Senior Bowl, he chases down Malik Willis from behind on a broken play, and he makes the tackle. Now, granted, I think Malik probably let up a little bit, that I thought he was safe, but Muma makes that play. Nakobe Dean's not showcasing that right now, but you see it on tape. Like, you see the range, and you see him blitzing. And I think when you watch him blitz, as we talk about this defense, they could do a lot of things with him where if Derek Barnes, Alex Anzalone are problems on the defense on third down, maybe you take them off completely and you run a 4-1-6 type of defense. You have 6 defensive backs on the field, you're 4 down linemen, but you're just blitzing Nakobe Dean all day long on third down, and he's going to get after it because he did it all the time. He was the most effective blitzing linebacker per Pro Football Focus.
Would you say along the lines for people to relate to what Micah Parsons did as far as getting after the quarterback? Would you like, so we were obviously, some people say, oh, why didn't we draft Parsons? Look at him and whatever. And I believe, well, look at the system he played in, and they built it for them. But on those terms is what you're saying is that's how he would be looked to be used.
Yeah.
So this would be sort of, not saying that he would produce like Micah Parsons, but that would be your Micah Parsons-esque guy.
In a sense, I think in this draft, Devin Lloyd kind of fits that mold a little bit more because he rushes off the edge consistently, where Nakobe Dean is plugged in that A and B gap, and there's times that he's sugaring the A gap, and then he's backing out and playing that mid-hook role, but then there's times that he just goes right through the A gap. But that allows you to run those line stunts, right? You can do a twist with, Brocker's taking the A and Aleem's taking the B, and then boom, you got something wide open in the middle where I think Dean can do that. But also with him, you mentioned where can he play traditionally? I think he's probably more of your will. So if you've got tight end to the right on the offense, and so that's a strong left call for the defense, Dean's playing on the right side, he would essentially play in a 20 to a 50. So that a 20 is head up over the guard, and his main priority is kind of watching that A and B gap, but then he plays all the way over to a 50, which is head up on the tackle. So I think it's something like that to where he can come in and he can show that range, that ability to blitz, and you see him off the field, he's even better off the field. He hasn't had a B+ since he was in 8th grade. He's been a 4.0 student through high school, college, degree in mechanical engineering. The kid's he's a smart dude. He's great for the community. He fits what Detroit's looking to do. And the fact that his only top 30 visit, which by the way is not a real thing, it's just something the media makes sound fancy.
Yeah.
But of the 30 players that teams are allowed to bring in to visit, Nakobe Dean, again, the only team he's met with is the Lions.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot of peacocking and trying to get teams to move
Spice it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you like Pickett? Well, he's visiting with us today, so
yeah, and
you got to move up to on him.
And there are teams that really value those visits. The Steelers are one of those teams. If they're heavily involved in a pro day and they bring that guy in for a visit, there's a good chance that player is going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Other teams, not so much. This regime, it's hard to say. 7 picks last year, 4 of them came out of the Pac-12. So,
can I ask you on Leo Chenal, a lot of people are eyeing him. And I'm being completely honest with you. I don't know how to value linebacker tape like I can a defensive lineman. I mean, I played defensive line in high school and whatnot. Yeah. Linebacker tape, it's so tough for me too because I know they're just filling gaps, and I feel like that's part of the defensive line's assignment as well. You know what I'm saying? That helping them do that. Leo Chenal, I don't know. Help me fall in love with this guy like everybody else is. I'd see a guy. I don't think he's like. I don't know, man. I don't see it. The things that people are talking about him and they're gushing over him. My guy Adam on the morning show loves him. I don't see that stuff, and I just don't know if I'm not like looking at the film correctly or like. What is it?
I think it's with him. You've got size, you've got versatility, and there's those flash moments on tape where he's down in the red zone on the goal line, and he's lined up as like a tilted nose, right? He's tilted almost into the A gap.
I did see that,
and he's taken on Tyler Linderbaum, who could be a for sure first round pick. It seems like. And he's taken him head on. He can't really cover that well, but when you play him up in the box, he gets after it. He's physical, and he's ultimately going to be a top 70, top 75 type of player. But everybody out there likes to throw these, well, he's a top 50 player. There's only so much room in the top 50. Not everybody can be a top 50 player. Cam Jurgens from Nebraska, the interior offensive lineman. People think he's a top 50 player. I don't see a top 50 player on tape. Same thing with Leo Chenal. I don't see it. But with that being said, I mean, there is an intriguing maybe 4th or 5th round option out of Wisconsin, not named Chenal. It's Jack Sanborn. He's the other guy that everybody doesn't talk about at Wisconsin, and he's somebody that I don't want to say undersized, but shorter arms. Reminds me a little bit in a sense of a former Los Angeles Rams that was an undrafted free agent in 2018, 2019, Troy Reeder. And I might have mentioned him already on the show, but he is somebody that I think Brad Holmes might value. And learning from what Brad Holmes has done last year and what he did in LA, I mean, that might be a guy that you just take later and he pans out for you as maybe that 5th linebacker.
So ultimately it comes down to the defensive scheme and what they want out of their linebackers.
Yeah, and again, I don't know. I'm not in there. I don't know what they're I don't know what they're scheming up, but I would assume you're going to see a 4-2-5. You're going to see a 3-2-6. You're going to see different variations of the defense all over the place. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, I think they are going to value one of these speed linebackers. Another one that they brought in on a visit was Devin Harper out of Oklahoma State. Had a 41-inch vertical, super explosive athlete. But he's kind of living in the shadow of his teammate Malcolm Rodriguez. Rodriguez is getting tons of love in the 3rd and 4th round of this draft, who's also another really good athlete. But maybe they value Harper as that 5th rounder.
Well, are you chilling with us till top of the hour? Or
whatever you need. I'm
Stick
here.
around. I got more questions.
I'm here all day.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Let me tell you about what I'm going to be doing next Thursday. I'm going to be sipping on some Gypsy vodka. You want to know why? Because it's the smoothest tasting vodka on the market. It took 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the best tasting and smoothest vodka on the market. It's proven. They did the homework on it. It's like the PFF of vodkas. Gypsy Vodka is gluten-free, corn distilled 6 times using artesian water. Support local brothers here from Michigan. Try a bottle today. Ask for it by name Gypsy. And as always, drink responsibly. This is BDE. We'll be right back.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
Counting down the hits until Miggy hits 3,000.
High drive, way back the other way, and gone! Cabrera hits another one.
The summer of Woodward sports is here. 3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991, yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
What's going on, everybody? It's Spencer for the Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck. You know where you can party before and after a big DCFC football win? That is the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. It's the home of the original football bowling pin game called Foaling. You can host your corporate party, team building event, or just come in with your family and friends, have a good time. There are 2 different ways you can play. They have $10 unlimited open play. You can go there, open to close, stay there all you want, throw your arm off, have a great time, or private lane reservation. $120, up to 10 people for 2 hours. They have over 100 different beers in multiple fully loaded bars for you to choose from. Don't feel like making a decision? Don't want the hassle? Don't want the fuss? They have a mystery beer vending machine. You put in $2, it pops you out a good beer. No hassle, no fuss needed, just great beer. And of course, you can bring in any food you want. You bring it in, you have a picnic, you drink some mystery beer, have a good time. So come on down, get your full on in Hamtramck, or check it out at thefoalingwarehouse.com. Again, that is foalingwarehouse.com.
What up, though? Welcome back to Big D Energy. I'm Easy from the Woodward Heavyweights, filling in for Golden Voice in your rule. Joined by his tag team partner, D-Mac Darren McCarty on a 420. We're speaking through with my man Russell Brown. Russ, how do we assess these Georgia guys with how stout the entire unit is?
They're all good.
The question is,
like,
Russ, how do you
Lewis
judge these Georgia guys with everything we hear about, Jordan Davis creating all this other stuff for Walker, for Dean, for all this? How do you look at it, I guess, with a grain of salt?
Well, it certainly plays a part, right? Like when you look at Quay Walker, you're like, okay, he had a lot of help up front. You got guys eating space for him. And Jordan Davis loves that. He's even gone on to say, I know what my job is. It's not to load the box score. It's to come up there and make plays and eat up space and allow these guys to eat, right? And so he understands his role, and that role is probably going to translate to the NFL fairly well for him. But it helps guys like Nakobe Dean as well. But I then look at a guy like a Trayvon Walker, and there's 2 sides to it, right? It's kind of a double-edged sword. It certainly helps those guys, and it also hurts those guys. But it also, you look at a guy like Trayvon, he's only played under 1,000 snaps in his career, and when you look at overall production measures and statistics and percentages, he's one of the worst in the class. Yeah. Like, it's crazy to me.
Pass rush win rates.
From his pass rush rates to his run stoppage rates. So it's like, where's this buzz coming from of a top 5, number 1 type of player? And it's also, when you just watch the tape and you see what certain guys can do, I don't want to say like you look for kind of like this it factor type of deal, but you look for guys that can really get after it and make things happen. And guys like Lewis Cine do that. Nakobe Dean does that. Jordan Davis does that. There's other guys, though, that are just kind of, it feels like they're going through the motions. And I don't know if that's just the player itself or if that's how they are aligned or that was their role and job. But it doesn't, I don't want to say it ultimately hurts their grade, but it plays a slight part in it. That's a great question. And I'm curious what other people in kind of the world that I live in, what they view on that as well. But that's just kind of how I do it, if that answers that.
No, it does. Because I find myself, it's just like, it's so tough to do. Like, everyone on that defensive line, even guys that aren't even coming out this year, fucking studs.
Yeah.
I had to stop myself from swearing just now. That's how good they are. It's
now, how
phenomenal.
much does it play into the fact that the Detroit Lions coaching staff, all the guys spent down at the Senior Bowl, where do you put that stock into it? And does that, how much of a difference and maybe an advantage with the eyeball? I always preach the eyeball test, but does that play it in? And it goes to a question for you, Russ, from our councilman, Mr. Colosio in San Diego, saying MCDC, Motor City Dan Campbell, has said that the number 2 pick will be an immediate starter. Is this smoke or is this legit? Because obviously it changed, right? If you're going to take Kavion or Hutchinson as opposed to taking the quarterback.
Right. Well, I think to answer the first part with the Senior Bowl, seeing Matt Patricia down there a couple years ago and him and that regime not taking a single one of those guys, it was like, wow, what a waste. Like, it was cool that they were able to go down there and get a first-hand look, but we know that regime had no idea what they were doing. But then you look at this regime and you're like, they got their heads on right. They're doing it the right way. They're building it inside out. They started in the trenches last year. They understand what the foundation is to a good football team is. And the same thing here is they understand that they are maybe still a couple key pieces away. They might find it in this draft, or they might continue, again, kind of starting inside out, but getting some key players on the outside and things like that. So when you see them at the Senior Bowl, they got a lot of guys that I like a lot, and I think that they're going to look at it, and they're not going to draft every single one of them. They're not going to sign every single one of them, but they're going to select, I think, one or two of them because they found the value in them, and that's where I think Holmes gets his money, is in that third, fourth round. He's going to find it there. But to the other question, the immediate starter, that's a tough one because I think I don't think he's blowing smoke, but I think the expectation in the draft everywhere is that number 2 pick, a top 10 player, whatever it is, in that range, should be a first starter automatically. He walks in, he's the man. And I think that's the thing here. I don't think he really knows what player is going to fall to them at 2. So obviously their cards might change. Their board's going to change a little bit. But I don't think he's putting his foot in his mouth like Ben McAdoo did for the Carolina Panthers talking about Sam Darnold. But I think he understands that this guy that he's picking is going to have to make an impact in some shape year one.
With because earlier you said you'd run the card and it'd be Malik Willis on that. Now say Aiden falls though.
Yeah.
Is that still the pick? Still
Malik?
Yes.
No, I think the pick would change to Hutchinson, similar to last year. I don't know what their board was looking like without Sewell, but maybe Chase was up there or Waddle. I know they really liked Jalen Waddle, so I think they were valuing one of those receivers because they knew it was a need on the team. And then all of a sudden, Waddle goes, Chase goes, and the board changes to your top player in Sewell. You're like, okay, we're running that in. And I think the same thing here. If Hutchinson falls somehow out of 1, I think that's just an MCDC type of player, right? Like a guy that those guys are going to go fishing together. They're going to be biting kneecaps together. They're going to be doing all kinds of stuff together because that's just the type of player that he is.
People, let me tell you about my best friend.
I love it. You mentioned wide receivers, right? Legitimately, obviously. So we're either quarterback or defensive end up front. And when does a receiver do you see coming into play here in the draft? Is it going to be, will Brad Holmes stay consistent and look like what he did with Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th round? And do you have any, I don't want to call them sleepers, but guys that you think that could fall and be a part of this team?
Yeah, I mean, I personally do. I think when you look at 32, 34, I think there's an opportunity for Christian Watson to personally be into the mix. But I know the Packers have been doing a lot of extensive research on him. So, of course, the Packers do that.
He feels like the Green Bay fit to Aaron Rodgers, doesn't he?
The key with him, though, is the drop rate. He dropped a lot of passes in his career. I think he was close to 20%. So he dropped a lot of passes in his career, but he looked so good at the Senior Bowl. And he's one of those guys that maybe he's like a Kenny Galladay-esque type player. Won't create a lot of separation, but he can run vertically down the field. He's very fluid with his lower half, very flexible within his lower half, and he might be able to win in all 3 areas of the field. So 32-34, it's probably a win-win to get him. Later, though, if they pass, maybe they go all defense, right? The first 3 picks, all defense. You get the edge rusher, the linebacker, the safety, and then you go receiver at 66 or 90 or 97, whatever. I think Alec Pierce out of Cincinnati is an intriguing fit. I think he is certainly somebody that I don't want to say he reminds me of Jordy Nelson because I hate pro comparisons because then you hold that player to this standard and then when they don't meet it, you're an idiot for saying it. But when I watch him, I see certain nuances to his game that I'm like...
Just say ask.
Yeah,
just say Jordy Nelson-esque.
Light.
If you put ask on the end, then you get away with it.
He's a bit
it's
bigger,
sort of like
though,
the Stag,
than Jordy, isn't
right?
he?
It smells like.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's... no, they're about the same size. I think Jordy was about 6'3", maybe 217, and Pierce is about 6'3", 211.
I didn't know Jordy was that big.
Or Jordy vice versa. It's something like that, but... You know, and Pierce is a lot more explosive as an athlete, right? High school, he played basketball, track and field, volleyball player. So that's where that explosiveness comes from. But he is one of those guys that I think they might value Senior Bowl type kid. But another name as well, Khalil Shakir out of Boise State, another Senior Bowl type kid. Very veteran release type package from him, right? You look at him, day one starter, because I think what you see with him is what you get. And maybe a little bit of a lighter version of Amon-Ra St. Brown, somebody that they might value in that 3rd, 4th round, but 18 career drops. That's a big concern. He had 10 this past year, but drops don't concern me because Jerry Jeudy, a few years back, he had 10 drops when he came out. He was a 15th pick. So these guys are going to have concentration drops at times. But when you're getting 115 targets and 85 receptions and you have 10 drops, I can live with it. It just kind of depends on when you're dropping that pass. Is it the game-winning touchdown, or is it some countless third down or second down in the first quarter that doesn't really hold any merit to anything that you're doing later on in the game? So I would say that those are a couple guys. I mean, D-Mac, you got me going receivers. I could go.
Hey, we have a whole another 12 minutes to jump into receivers.
Okay.
Because real quick, I want to tell you guys, this draft is giving me anxiety. I'm losing sleep. I don't know what the Lions are going to do. I know what I want them to do, but then I just don't know what to do with these players, and I'm having some mental health issues. So I'm gonna check out the SMA podcast. This is the F word. Now that one is specifically the series on fentanyl, but SMA has been leveraging pro athletes and other notables for a decade against issues surrounding mental health and substance use disorder. With the help of NFL alumni Sean Jordan, he's been able to save lives and take a stance against these issues. Soon, coming to Woodward Sports, which we got to cross this out of the read because they're already here. This is the F word. It's a series on fentanyl. If you are struggling with substance abuse or mental health disorders, go to thesportsma.com. There's no shame. Get yourself some help. This is BDE. We'll be right back.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
You asked for it and we listened. The Seafood Festival is back at Big Boy, including a Friday night seafood buffet. Catch it while you can, available at participating locations until April 24th. Also available, the new fish sandwich. We'll see you at Big Boy.
What's going on? We're just talking about the draft party. Mr. Russell Brown's going to be there, so you should be too. He's going to even partake in the Woodward Heavyweights draft drinking game. Oh, you're going to have to show up to be a part of it. But hey, guess what? Brass Rail, downtown, Thursday, April 28th, from 7 p.m. until the 32nd pick or easy pukes. Either or, whatever's first. We're talking about the 2022 NFL Draft 8 days a week. Come on, let's get down there and celebrate. Join the Woodward Sports and hundreds of other die-hard Lions fans for an NFL Draft party and live stream from the Brass Rail, downtown Detroit. You know, on the corner of Woodward and Adams. All your favorite and not so favorite Woodward Sports people will be there. You got Draft the Cocaine, Adam Baydoun, the Professor T. Foss, Real Deal, Neil Rule, D-Mac, Braylon Ryan, the Heavyweight Heads, Scott Bishop, Russell Brown, Maz Stick, Jeff, Matty Joy, and a whole bunch more. Yes, the Kiwi Fish will be there, and Sammy Flannel in the house. Come join us at the Brass Rail Thursday, April 28th from 7 until pick number 32. See you downtown for Draft Day with Woodward Sports. Brought to you by Cintron, Gypsy Vodka, Planet Fitness. It's going to be wicked awesome. Look at how I did that. Got them all in right there.
Welcome back to Big D Energy. I'm your host, Easy from the Woodward Heavyweights, filling in for the Golden Voice Neil Rule. And I'm joined by the four-time Stanley Cup champion, Darren McCarty. Russ, we're talking receivers. You were getting ready to go, man.
I'm ready.
Let me ask you one specific name, and it's only because he was compared to Deebo Samuel. Those player comparisons get me. I'm a sucker for player comparisons. Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah.
What's the take on him? Is he...
Nah, he's not Deebo Samuel, I can tell you that.
The juice is going.
He's not Deebo by any means.
Who is?
I don't think.
Who is Deebo? He's his own guy, right, Sam?
Yeah.
Yep. He's his own guy. If you had to throw somebody that played in a comparable role, that would be Christian Watson in and out of the backfield. Not saying Robinson didn't. But I just don't see Samuel there. But he is a fun player, very explosive, can do kind of a variety of things. You see him on jet motions, orbit motions.
Like Jalen Waddle?
Yeah, similar. I guess you could say like a Jalen Waddle. But I will say with Robinson, I mean, he's one of those guys. He played at Nebraska before coming to Kentucky. It's hard, man. He looks like a slot receiver that might get just a little bit overhyped in my personal opinion. But I like him. He brings special teams value. He can return punts, return kicks. If I'm going to take kind of a guy with maybe some track speed, I'm taking Calvin Austin. He reminds me a little bit of like Tariq Cohen, who was recently let go by the Bears this offseason. But he reminds me of Cohen in the fact that you can play him similar roles out of the backfield to catch passes. Cohen, not really a running back, more of that gadget player, special team, pass catcher on swing passes, screen passes. I think Calvin Austin can do that.
And where's value? Is this the guy valued later in the draft too? And these guys, because do we not agree that we could use a burner? On this team, I just a deep threat, a guy that just does sprints and pulls the defense back that we haven't had.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he is somebody in that fourth round range, right? You talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he falls into that area of the fourth round of, hey, I'm going to draft this guy because he can play outside as well. There's times where he's playing against Houston, he's running vertical, and he's catching a fade pass over Marcus Jones, who's a guy out of Houston who's very physical, very fast, and very good in his own right. So I would take Calvin Austin if he's there in the fourth round. I don't know if he will be there, but again, maybe you value him in the third, and that's the guy you take.
As you can see, if you're watching over the shoulder, the legend, Drew Lane, in the house. What's up, Drew? How you doing? Russ, one of my questions to you, though. Give me 3 names off of your board, not necessarily the Lions are going to pick, but out of this draft that you think are special, whether you call them sleepers or not, but one of these ones that... Give me the I told you so, you idiots picks.
All right, I'm gonna get it spicy. We'll start with the quarterback. I'm gonna go Desmond Ridder out of Cincinnati. He was somebody 2 years ago I wrote about. I watched him against East Carolina, Houston, Memphis, teams like that, and I thought, okay, this guy's relatively good. Then I watched him against South Florida that year, and he makes a dumb, boneheaded decision, makes a bad interception. He threw 3 or 4 picks that game, but he just looks like that kind of pro-style quarterback. Really good release. The ball jumps out of his hands. Good overall torque within his throws and things like that, but very mobile. Ran a 4.51, can run a lot of zone read concepts. So I like him if he goes to, obviously, with any player, the right spot. And I think New Orleans makes a lot of sense. Pittsburgh makes a lot of sense. Next, Arnold Ebiketie, Penn State. Love this kid. I think if he gets his first step down and it's just a little touch more explosive, he is going to be a stud. He's got a great swipe move, got a good overall pass rush plan. He can turn the corner, run the arc, do everything that you need a pass rusher to do. I got him valued higher than George Karlaftis and Trayvon Walker. He's 18th on my board. I really think this kid can be a stud.
So where do you think, where if the Lions are thinking the same thing, is this a 66 guy? Is this a 32 guy?
Yeah, he would be a 32, 34.
Okay.
So if they passed on an edge at 2, they take the QB. Is he there at 32? You run to the podium and you take him. If he's already gone, because I think he will be, I think Philly will really value him with 2 of those picks. I think, I don't want to say Buffalo, but maybe Tennessee, because they've kind of got an interesting thing there with Bud Dupree. They could let him go after this season, clear up $20 million. They signed him to an $82 million deal this past year, and he was often injured. He ended up on injured reserve. So if they let him go after this year, Harold Landry, Arnold Ebiketie, might be pretty sexy for a team like the Titans. But then beyond that, the third guy, man, I don't want to upset anybody, but I'm going to the trenches because that's what I do. I love trench play. I love offensive linemen. And I'm gonna die on the hill that is Tyler Linderbaum. I really think he is one of the 10 best players in the draft. I don't care that he is somebody that is a little bit undersized. I don't really care that he is somebody that isn't going to give me versatility to play guard. I just want him to play center for me because I know he's going to knock it out of the park. Now, I've been bit before, like Connor Williams a few years ago out of Texas. 6th or 7th player on my board. I thought he could play left tackle. Now he's playing guard for the Miami Dolphins. So it's one of those things where I think you can get him somewhere in this first round. Teams aren't going to value him because of positional value and size. But I think when you draft him, similar to Creed Humphrey last year, 2nd round pick, an absolute stud out of Oklahoma.
Kung Fu Spinny's got one for you.
I just got some breaking news here. Deebo Samuel has requested a trade from the 49ers.
So. Damn, there you go.
Dude, whenever I'm in this studio, something happens. Every single time.
See, I keep preaching that, and then you got to make your way. That's how you get a permanent seat somewhere. Everything always happens. So Deebo Samuel, it's real quick, couple minutes left of the segment. Is that a guy that fits in? I go right to Neil with this draft capital, trade value, or whatever. But initially, does this have a guy that the Lions should see across the ticker tape because of who he is and give him a chance? See what it would take?
100% I would. Pick 32. I'm taking it, giving it to him. Here, San Francisco, take 32, use that, do whatever you need to do. Give me Deebo Samuel, and I would pay him. That would be my true number one player on my offense.
Did you hear that? Darren McCarty and Russell Brown agree. Pick 32, ship it off to San Francisco, bring back Deebo. Because you know what? Wouldn't everybody like to see Sammy Flannel and Deebo on a Deebo Friday sitting in the booth with flannels? I know that I would. So
yeah, I just don't know what we go for him. I think obviously he's requesting a trade because they're probably not willing to give him that $30 million a year he probably wants.
Well, that's the whole thing, too, right? Wide receivers is a new quarterback.
Yeah, it
is.
Right,
with the way that it is.
Yeah,
and you can't, the market dictates
Trent
what
Baalke.
Deebo's sitting there doing and saying. So who's next? Right? Look at
Deebo.
This is the chink in the armor, which even more so nails back to now is that we always talk about getting your quarterback for that draft value and that contract. You might need to pick up that wide receiver, too. If they're getting out, if that contract's getting out of hand for the same reason, right?
What about I hate saying it. I agree with you, but what about the Packers? That just came in my head.
God,
they have 22 or 28. Could you imagine them giving up one of them? I don't know exactly what their cap structure looks like off the top of my head. I know it's not great, but they didn't have to pay Devontae Adams.
Yeah, but the cap structure, it's whatever
it's
you
not
can
existent.
figure out at the time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But you know what? You're right. And as a Lions fan, I think that could be a possibility.
That would suck.
That would
suck. But we got Jeff Okudah coming back healthy and being there. Thank you very much, Russ, for joining us.
Thanks for having
check out at Russ NFL Draft. He will be
got
down
podcast
there
Woodward Sports now
in 8 days at the Brass Rail with us. Get all your information here. Appreciate your time, your information, your knowledge, and thanks for keeping the old man Bischoff on point.
Thanks, fellas. I appreciate it. It was fun.
It. Well, stick around, guys. We come back. We're going to have, the legend, the myth, the man, everything in itself, Detroit sports media, the Drew and Mike Show. Drew Lane himself going to join us for the last 10 minutes. But first, let me tell you how to win money. Lots of money. $100,000. Yes, $100K. All you have to do is you walk in, you sign in, you sit down to Lady Jane's, you turn around, you say, hey, beautiful stylist, can you put my name on the list to get into the drawing for the money? And she says, yes. Would you like the king's treatment? And you say yes. Next thing you know, you're all lavished up.
Why, yes.
What?
I said, why, yes.
That's it. They're all lathered up and clean and ready to go. You can do that. Lady Jane's open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Why? It's wicked awesome. Stick around. Drew Lane coming back here. Woodward Sports. Thank you.
Everything that we've hoped for, finally.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Brandon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
It's all happening now.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Sticker Genius.
Oh, yeah, Sticker Genius, guys. You want to be a part of it, you can too. StickerGenius.com. Look around this room, the Planet Fitness, the Woodward Sports. That could be you too. Any signage, any stickers, you go to StickerGenius.com. And look, coming out soon, all the shows are going to have new stickers. You got any ideas? Send them in. StickerGenius.com. Let's go. Anyways, here we come back. Final segment here, joined by probably one of the funniest and one of the most influential media guys in my life, and yours too, from way back in the day. You know him, you love him, Mr. Drew Lane. Drew.
Hey, Mac.
Thank you. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great.
You can catch Drew, obviously, the Drew and Mike podcast, which is rocking out. You're still babysitting Fellhauer.
Yes.
Looks to see you got Brandon over there.
Brandon.
And you still have Maz in there.
Maz
every
is
now
one day
and
a
then.
week. Don't forget Trudy.
Well, Trudy's a staple. Let's not say that, but you do it. So we do share things here from Woodward Sports Network, and it is the Maz.
We do.
You were downtown last night, Yankees and Detroit Tigers, and if anybody knows Drew at all, huge baseball fan. He can die peacefully because his Chicago Cubs have won the World Series, so he's good.
I love baseball, but I got to tell you, last night's game, I don't know if you watched any of it. There were 18 walks. Was it 370 pitches, Mike?
Yeah.
Oh, 370 pitches. There were 24 strikeouts. It was drudgery. I mean, there was 22 guys left on base, or 39 left on base, but they were all walks. I think there were maybe 10 hits in the entire game. It was just a dreadful game, and they lost. They dropped 3 pop-ups too. The Tigers did. It was just a bad game.
That is, but how was the atmosphere? The
atmosphere's fine. I mean, the Yankees are in town. I expect a bigger crowd tonight and maybe tomorrow when the weather's nice, because it wasn't very nice outside. But I just was, all this talk about speeding up baseball, I've never felt it so much as I felt it last night. Like, this game needs to get moving.
Yeah, isn't that the thing? Because as being and you'd consider yourself a traditionalist.
I love baseball.
We're traditionalists. One of the things that me and Maz sit around and talk about is we, entertain him with his old baseball adages. What about the young? Let's talk about this Tiger team, because with what AJ Hinch and they're putting together as a Tigers fan, as a hometown guy. What do you see, especially with the young guys with Torkelson and stuff like this?
Torkelson, I don't know. I'm penciling him in for Rookie of the Year. I hope I'm not getting too excited too fast.
You're not.
But I mean, he's really something.
Well, whenever you want to get on the campaign, we'll back you up.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Whenever the
T-shirts,
campaign comes
out. And Austin was a great pickup from Tampa.
Yes.
He's been hitting the ball really. Baez is out for 10 days. I mean, there's been a couple. This Mize injury, is that anything significant? Do we know?
He said June, I think. When I was talking to our Helio, our guy here.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, I think that to the point, Drew, is that what we see is how maybe important that time in training camp is. And it's not only injuries or stuff like this and getting to be able to pitch.
I mean, he's a kid, though. You just think that...
You're right.
It's kids these days,
you're right.
Damn it.
What, couple things. Hey, will you bring up... I found this yesterday, and the throwback or whatever, but the Thomas Holmstrom picture.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that? Because that's one of Drew's... one of the OGs, but I found a picture on Twitter of Homer sitting in the stands.
Oh, really?
In the stands of a game. And I just wanted you to comment, what's the first thing you see in the picture? What do you notice most about Homer here?
I don't see the picture yet.
Yeah, I gotta grab it.
Can I ask you something while we're waiting real quick?
Sure.
So your
what do you guys got
transition
going
from
on with the Drew and Mike podcast? Everybody, obviously, there's always shenanigans. What are you focused on these days?
Well, we've been focused a bit on the live stream of Andy Dick, who is now homeless, the actor. Yeah, it's a long story. That's a good tease, though, because you just
absolutely.
Yeah.
So what can we listen to later today?
He's homeless.
Today actually is the best of Drew and Mike, because it's Mike Clark's birthday.
Today is Mike Clark's birthday.
Tomorrow is, which the show will be released later today. So that's what happens.
But the Andy Dick highlight live streaming his homelessness.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, people got to know. It's you're facilitating options, Drew. That's what you always have.
That's right. No, I think it's people need to know.
Okay, a couple other things people need to know.
How's the transition?
Give me three of the latest books you've read. Now, if anybody doesn't know, Drew's a speed reader. He reads more books than any human that I know. So when you want it's not like, hey, have you checked this book out? No, he just read these 3 last night. Any good
John
ones?
Mellencamp has a good book.
Who's that one?
Kenny Arnoff, the drummer for John Mellencamp, has a good book. Paul McCartney, The Lyrics, is a great book. And Mark Lanigan, Screaming Trees.
Yes.
He just died. But
he did.
He had a really interesting... Didn't he? I think he did.
Oh, no.
He's got a great book out, though. I mean, it's an older book, but I just got into it because of what happened.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. All right, you got the Homer.
Or maybe he's from 311.
Take a look. Now watch.
Homer, is he in church?
Doesn't it look like that?
Like it?
Yeah.
Did the video play? Well, I wanted to see. Well,
Homer looks good.
Well, he did, but there's a video that I wanted to play where he smiles. And I wanted to go back because you'd remember this because he looks like Chompers. He looks like Matt Damon. Seriously, that was the whole thing with Thomas Holmstrom's teeth. Is when you see him smile, is you see that the Choppers. But again, he looks good, healthy. Obviously, Lidstrom was at that hockey game somewhere because Homer's his limousine driver. So, the boys are back. Any thoughts on Red Wings? What we've seen this year?
I just want to tell you, you're making news today for talking about Dylan Larkin. I just Googled you, and I'm like, Darren McCarty backs Dylan Larkin, et cetera, et cetera.
Was it the one with my bat? Or this the fit? Because I brought the bat out. Because I seriously said, let's go Fight Club right here. I'm at Woodward Sports. I mean, seriously.
I think you pretty much...
is that not... You read what I was defending him about, right?
Yes.
Will you please support or not support me in what I said?
I got to support both of you.
Yeah.
How can you support Dylan Larkin?
Yeah.
How can you not?
No, of course.
And he was hurt after All-Star break, too. Like, you look at his numbers while he's healthy, he's killing it. And then still second half after injury.
Stop it, because you don't get it.
It's
still not about the numbers.
Well,
it's
no,
about the captaincy. And it's about this guy leading these men. And if you think there's somebody better or somebody... There's not.
He's the guy. Of course he is. But also, I think it was suggesting you were popping off about possible coaching change, which I don't really hear people talking about, and I'm surprised.
Really? I expect something between. Well, you can't. Like, are we in agreement to what we watch is that there was no progress in the second half of the season, even from some, the younger guys keep doing it, but when it becomes a detriment. So I expect, and I could be totally wrong, and I'll sit here and go, guess I missed that one.
Well, if it works out, great, but I would say patience is getting very thin.
Starting to, right? Starting to. If it's hashtag wiser plan. You got that one? All right, show him this one. There we go. See, watch him. This is what I always like because he's always looking good. Then he's going to see himself on TV and look at those pearly whites. He actually was saying, "Hey, Drew, I hope things are well."
Homer looks great, man.
Well, nice. You got Mike in. Mike visiting in from when he said he's from
Mike's here from
the state
Virginia.
of Lovers, Virginia. I know that you guys go way back.
We do. Back to WROV in Roanoke, and Mike worked at WDBJ, and so I was trying to foist him on Woodward Sports. I said he's run a TV station, he's run a radio station. Maybe he'd be the guy for you, but I don't think
you know what? That'll be next door. The boss is actually in. So,
talk to right there.
All right, easy. Take us out, bud. Thank you, Drew. Good to see you. Look forward to running India.
Good to see you.
You bet.
In the words of Neil Rule, see you later.
Deuces.